The biggest mistake I made in my business was not hiring a professional to help me with my money. Not just my taxes, but the actual plan I had for my business. I was completely lost on how to handle taxes, what to do with profit, and how to maintain my income. I had to find a better way. That's when I found Core Financial. Core Financial is a team of tax professionals that actually care about building real relationships with their clients. They run my books, keep me up to date with my finances, and make sure I'm taking full advantage of all of my tax benefits. Are you struggling with your finances? Look no further. Core Financial is a brand that is nationwide that can help you with your business. Both Nick and I are huge fans of Core, and they can help you too. Check out howtofilmweddings.com/core to schedule a consultation today. Core Financial, real relationships, no surprises. Hello and welcome to the How to Film Weddings podcast. My name is John Bunn. I'm joined by my best good bearded buddy, Mr. Nicholas Miller. Nick, how are you? What is new? What you been up to? Give me all the details. The people want to know. Besides your celebrity sightings and places across the world, what's new?
Celebrity sightings? I don't know what you're talking about.
You sent me a photo. Somebody thought that they saw you in public.
So this is so funny. Our friend Evan Lanier, who is, I think he's a videographer in Alabama. He was shooting a wedding this weekend on a beach somewhere, and someone said, "Hey, Nick." Sorry, you're not Nick. And he goes, "Nick Miller?" And they're like, "Yeah." Anyways, Evan, if you don't know, he's a bald guy like me, big beard like me, kind of slender build like me, and they thought that it was me. And just to prove to you that all of us balded, bearded people look exactly the same. But he sent me a picture. Maybe Blake, I'm going to send you this picture, and I just want you to throw it up on the screen. I'll do that.
You judge. Yeah, you judge whether or not you think it's Nick. But what else is new? I know you just got back from a trip.
Yes.
Wedding season is in full effect. We're back. You just were in another state.
We are back. Yes. So we had a quick trip this weekend. On Thursday, Jen's parents came to watch the kids. We drove to Denver, spent the night, woke up, shot a wedding on Friday, spent the night, woke up, drove home. So it's kind of a 15, 16-hour round trip for us, but the wedding was great. Golf course, really pretty wedding. So couples from here. She grew up in Colorado, I think, so that's why I was out there. But anyway, I'm glad to be home. Got a couple weeks off before I shoot again, which is our schedule this year. I don't know about yours. I know your May, June has been kind of crazy, but
yes.
But for us, it's really like 1 week on, 1 week off. You know, it's like kind of every other, they're spaced out really well. We were actually supposed to be shooting today in Colorado, but the couple had to push their wedding back. Another story. But anyway, my schedule for the year is a lot of room to breathe. That's a good way to
that's not how mine has been so far. Yesterday I filmed a wedding here in Tulsa. The first wedding that I filmed in Tulsa in almost 9 months. So, I mean, it's been forever. I've been all over the place. Oklahoma City, a 2-hour drive several times. Cabo, Charleston, Dallas last weekend. So I've been all over, but it was nice to film a wedding, drive 25 minutes, and sleep in my bed. So that was great. I'm off this next week. I've got a wedding the following, then off, then back on. And then I am the whole summer until August. After June 19th, I think, I'm free until the end of August. So we're planning a trip to Montana. Dude, it's going to be great. So anyway, that's a lot of chit chat. Today, though, it's a new week. It's a new podcast. It's been a minute since you and me have done a podcast together. We had a lot of our workshops leading up to our course. Then you just interviewed Ashley last week from K+B. Great episode. This week, though, Nick, you and I are back in the saddle. We're talking about one thing most wedding filmmakers are missing. So if you're ready, I think we can just go ahead and get into this week's episode.
Yes, let's go ahead and start talking about this one thing that most wedding filmmakers are missing. And John, I think I want to preface this. I think that every single wedding filmmaker actually does this and has this. The thing is, are you efficient with it? And today we're talking a little bit about workflows. And I know from when I started, I had a workflow. It was just awful. It was, that was back in the days when you meet with a couple and then you had to mail them a paper contract so that they could mail it back with the check that they mailed back. And then I would send all the emails I was supposed to, but it was, here's this month email that I'm supposed to send out right after they book. Sometimes I did it. Sometimes it was like 3 months after they booked. I just had a very, very poor system. And I think all of us have something. It's just, can it be refined and moving forward with it? So we're going to talk a little bit about workflows.
I have to also say, when I started out in 2007, no contracts, no real workflow.
Why would you need a contract anyway?
Yeah, why would I? Until I got hosed, then I realized a contract would be great. I went to the Home Depot and I got like marker board style sheets of wood, and I nailed them onto the walls of my office. And I would write the couple's names down on marker. And that is how, with marker, that's how I remembered to when the weddings were. And then I had a filing cabinet with all the contracts in it. And if I just forgot that a wedding was happening or whatever, I would have been hosed. And luckily that didn't happen. But I had marker boards all over saying Jimmy and Susie's wedding. And then it would say a date. And then that was it. And I had to go look at their contract for a phone number. It was everywhere. And I think, a lot of people, like you said, you have a workflow, whether you like it or not. But you definitely, if you're not thinking it through correctly, you're probably missing out on a lot of really good experience for the couple, experience for you on the wedding day because you're involved more in the timeline of the day, and the big one, you're probably missing out on some money. So Nick, workflows, what are they? What are we actually talking about?
Right. So if you have no clue what a workflow is, it's basically your system for communicating with the people that hire you from the day that they hire you through after, delivery of their final product. So it's the workflow idea is the whole thing, everything that you are doing from when they book to whenever you deliver. And so these are email correspondence. These are if you have spend client gifts, if you're reaching out for meetings, for that sort of stuff, how you're doing that, what you are saying when you are sending all of those things out. So workflows are definitely a massive game changer in your business. It's kind of daunting. We actually just went through our mastermind and we spent a lot of time talking about workflows and this sort of stuff. And everyone was like, I just feel overwhelmed. It's so much work. And yes, it is. But if you do it correctly and you do it right, you set it up one time, and then now for 50 couples in the future, 100 couples in the future, it's all set up. You can make little tweaks here and there, but it's a massive work for one day so that you don't have to do it again for a long time. So
yeah, and when it comes down to it, I didn't start implementing workflows legitimately until 5 or 6 years ago. And, I had contracts, I had emails that I'd send out, but I was the guy that would write an email fresh every time. Oh, I need to meet with them. So let me send them an email. Let me grab my phone. Or if I'm at my desktop. But it was never the same information. It was always kind of scattered. And I just kept realizing that I was missing the mark on some things. And once I started implementing them, I started seeing a lot of things change. And I mentioned it a second ago, but the number one thing is I started making more money. And we'll break down our actual workflows here in a little bit, but I started making more money because I was more consistent with my emails and when to connect with couples and the right time to connect with them after they've booked. But then also people ask me a lot, how do you get the couple to, do an interview? How do you get the couple to, take time for video or make time with the photographer or whatever? And so by having these workflows, now my weddings that I'm actually shooting are way more organized and way more built around the video because I'm out in front. A lot of people complain in our groups, oh yeah, I didn't have time for video, or yeah, my couples never want to do this or that. And it's a lot on you if that's the case. They haven't been educated. They haven't been, you haven't worked that into your workflow to show them why certain things are important, why they should build those into the timeline. Most of us book a couple, maybe reach out once or twice after we booked them, and then we show up on the wedding day and think that everything's going to work out, and that's just not how it is. So implementing workflows for me has made me a lot more money on average per couple after they've booked, as well as helped me to have way better wedding days, which have made me have way better wedding films, which make where I can charge more money. So these are very, very important things, and most wedding filmmakers are missing out on this. Nick, anything about what they did for you before you? When did you start implementing them? What did they start doing for you?
Yeah, we really dove into workflows. Like whenever, we use HoneyBook for our business. I know John uses HoneyBook for his business. And the workflow feature was something, where it could do automated emails, where it could automatically send them out and that sort of stuff. They just added that feature probably a couple years after I had been using HoneyBook. And so whenever they got on that, and I was like, holy cow. So Jen spent a lot of time writing about all of our emails, that we send out. John and I are firm believers. If you are writing an email more than one time, pretty much the same email, you should have a template of that email. And so she just had all these templates. And then from there, we went in and we said, okay, this, breaking it down when these things could go out. And what I noticed was people saw us as more than just a vendor. They saw us as more professional. They saw us as people that they wanted to work with. Okay. Now we're starting to get more comments and like, oh, we are so glad, to have you guys. You guys have been great to work with. You've been incredible to work with. And part of that is we're just awesome. But the other part of it is that, we are communicating with them ahead of time. We are checking in on them every few months. We are sending them resources. We are, sending them client gifts. We are having these meetings and talking and breaking the wedding day down. And we've shot 250 weddings. And so we let them know, hey, we have shot all these weddings. From our experience, you need more time here. From our experience, you don't need this. And then they really take that in and they appreciate us for that. And so, we started doing that probably 3-4 years ago, somewhere in that. And, like John, our prices have increased. Our bookings have, been very solid and been the people that we really want to work with. It's just been a positive influence on our business because we have had these workflows. And I want to take a second here and I want to touch base on HoneyBook. Okay. John and I both use HoneyBook. There are several other, CRMs out there that do, very similar things. But if you want to try HoneyBook, and then if you sign up for it, we can actually give you 50% off your first year. But that's howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook. You can try it out and you can set up this email automation so that whenever someone inquires with you, if you want to have them send an email immediately saying, hey, we are available, this is the next steps or whatever, like it can do that. After they sign a contract, it'll kick them back an email that says something automatic. You can set all of that stuff up, and it makes it so that you can run your business and your business is running smoothly without you really doing anything. Very hands off. And so John and I are big pushers of HoneyBook or some other CRM that that works well with your workflow. And so if you would like to check out HoneyBook, head over to howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook and we can get you 50% off of your first year.
Yeah, and before heading to break, I just want to kind of throw it out there too that for those of you out there listening, you kind of do some of this or you've dabbled with this, and we're going to break it down after the break, but you really want to write out either on your computer, on an iPad, wherever, on a piece of actual paper like you're from the 18th century or something. But
what?
Write out in an ideal world, if you've booked a couple, then what? What's the next thing that happens? Do they get an email automatically the second that they book that has a paragraph about, how excited you are? Here's your number. Here's the way to be in contact. And then telling them a little bit more about, I'm going to be emailing you soon, whatever, writing it out from that to, do I want to meet with them beforehand? Is there any helpful tips that I want? Do I want to send them a gift? And all these things from beginning to end, you're writing out a roadmap of how you want to communicate with your couples. And then the work of really writing out the content that you're wanting to send out again and again. If you do it right once, like Nick is saying, I know now that I just booked a couple for a wedding coming up in December. And all I did after they signed their contract in Honeybook was click add to workflow. I have a 2020 wedding or 2021 wedding workflow. I clicked add, and it automatically sent out an email to them thanking them for being one of our couples. And then next week, there's an email going out saying, hey, just if you need any help with any vendor recommendations, I'm here for you. And I'm setting myself up as the guide early from the very beginning and referring other wedding vendors, which is only great mojo. Last night, the wedding that I did, the photographer is who I recommended. The band is who I recommended. So guess what happens whenever you're at a wedding? Whenever the photographer is somebody that you recommended, you get to work together. Like, they know that video is really important, and they also are really doing what they can to take care of you because you've taken care of them. So I was able to have conversations last night with the vendors that I recommended, and they were like, thank you so much. And that just helps you in your business. It helps you have better wedding films. It helps the couples have better vendors and a better experience. So we're going to head to break, but after that, we're going to break down exactly how Nick and I are doing our workflows in 2021. So we will be back right after this.
What would you take on if you had an extra set of hands? What would you do with your free time if you didn't have to edit? So many of us get bogged down in the post-production hustle that we never seem time to focus on our business. John and I both felt that way until we found Wedditor. Wedditor is a post-production team of top wedding film editors and project managers that give your films and brand the extra eyes, ears, and hands that they need. Not only is Wedditor delivering films we love to our couples faster, but we can invest ourselves fully in other areas of our business knowing that Wedditor has our back. Be the first to know how your second shooters are doing, how those new LUTs work with your footage, and relax knowing your couples are getting the full attention they deserve on every single project. So what could you do with an extra hand? Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/Wedditor, whether you're ready to start now or preparing for next season. Be sure to use promo code HTFW for $50 off your first project. If you're interested in this service, make sure you head over to howtofilmweddings.com/Wedditor soon. Fall 2020 spots are lined up and filling up fast. Wedditor, more than freelance, more than outsourcing.
Finding the perfect song for your wedding film can be so frustrating. We spend countless hours searching for the perfect song. When it comes to licensing music, Nick and I both love MusicBed. Not only do they have the best music, but their website makes it so easy to find the perfect song and to find it fast. We have both been using the MusicBed's wedding subscription for years and cannot recommend it enough. Not only are they adding new music from incredible musicians like Chapters, The Light, The Heat, and Tony Anderson all the time, they've made it incredibly easy to search their library for mood, genre, instrumentation, and even key. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed and use promo code HTFW for a free month of a MusicBed wedding subscription. howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed. Okay, we are back from break, and we are starting this segment with the Wedditor question of the day. Wedditor, more than freelance, more than outsourcing. Oh my goodness. If you haven't seen my most recent films from Wedditor, check them out. You know where to find them. But Nick, the question of the day, since we're talking about workflows, what is your current workflow? I want you to zip through it, just kind of how you lay it out, but I would love to know what your workflow is.
Yeah. So in Honeybook, we have several template emails, and whenever we get an inquiry, Jen is responsible, my wife, for responding to those. And so, we have a we're available email, or we have a we're an unavailable email, or we have some other emails that like inquiring too far. We got like a 2024 inquiry the other day, and we're like, I can. We can push that one off. Or, they're asking for discounted services or, those kind of things. But we respond to those emails. And then, we have a follow-up if they don't respond to our email. And this one is, hey, just wanted to follow up with you one more time, make sure you got it. And then we have an out in it. It's something that says, if you've gone another direction, that's fine. Just please let us know, which has actually we get less ghostings now because we have added that little paragraph in the email. But we have a follow-up email if they don't book a phone call. And then after they do a phone call and we chat or whatever, then we have 3 follow-up emails. Hey, do you want to book? They go out 1 day, 3 days, 7 days, something like that. Then after, let's say they go through, they book with us. Then we have an email that goes out. Hey, we're so excited. We have an email that goes out about 6 months, about 3 months, 1 month, and then a week of email. That's kind of the bird's eye quick, boom, boom, boom. We also do send a client gift. And just for our purposes for holding, we have the email, like Jen writes them a handwritten note, in the client gift box, and that's in one of our templates, so that she can just find that really easily and all that kind of stuff. But that was kind of a quick
That
view.
was a
So
zip.
we have a
Yeah.
Well, you told me to zip through it, So we have our kind of our inquiry process and then after booking, process. So that's what we do.
Yeah, I'm gonna break down just a little bit too, and feel free to jump in now that you've given.
Can you zip that quick?
I don't think I can. No, I don't think I can. I was just gonna talk real quick about, like you said, something. So we have it down, the process where all the way from when they inquire with us, there's an automatic response email that goes out from us. I just redid all of mine and rewrote them, but the basic gist of that one for me is, hey, thanks so much for inquiring. We only have a few spots left for this year, but the best way to figure out if we're the right fit is to set up a quick meeting with us. I have a link inside that first email. Again, inside of HoneyBook, you can set your schedule, so they can literally click and set up a meeting automatically as soon as they've activated, and said, hey, I'm interested in using you for the wedding. Boom, they get an email thanking them for reaching out, plus a link to set up a quick Zoom call with me. It automatically sets up a Zoom, and gives them a link and everything and adds it to my calendar. And so it's all automated. I don't have to worry about that. I will also usually send them a text message saying, hey, thanks for inquiring. I just sent you an email. Let's schedule a time to talk. I'm trying to get them interested and excited really quickly. And so after that, though, this is really fresh on my mind because I just redid mine for 2021. I rewrote some of my emails. But the first email that goes out when they do book is a Cue the Confetti, I think is the title of it. And it's just an exciting, we're part of the family, save my cell phone number if you need anything. Here it is. Let's get excited. I'm going to be sending you some emails soon about vendors. There's a button for them, for me on HoneyBook to refer vendors that makes it really easy there. And then I have emails that go out. I have one week after the wedding, or the wedding is booked, just reminding them if they need referrals, I'm here for them. I'm on their team. A 6-month out email. And this is one of those things for me. I do a 6-month consultation with every single one of my booked couples because a lot of people, and as we've talked in the past, a lot of people try to cram everything down the couple's throat at the very beginning instead of working with them over time, building trust, and then adding things. And so once I started adding that 6-month out email, I started doing Zoom calls 6 months out and being ahead of them using their entire budget and ahead of them already making their timeline. So a 6-month out email with a link for them to book right there. A 3-month out email with the bride, just like a quick 90 days beforehand, just walking through the timeline again. 1 month out, I have a questionnaire that automatically sends out. 3 weeks out is our final consultation. And then we have a 1 week out email that just says it's wedding week, how excited we are. We have an email that goes out 1 week after the wedding saying happy 1 week anniversary. It tells them, what to expect on the contract side of things, on what they're going to get, when they should get it. And I have some more, but I'll let you talk, Nick. I can tell you have some things you might want to add.
Well, I was just going to say that I forgot we have that post wedding as well. That's another big thing that John and I know we have both experienced. We no longer get, hey, where's my film emails, because the week after the wedding, we are sending out this what to expect next email. And, it says, we're so excited, that you worked with us. Here's what you are getting. Here's an estimated time frame of how long it will be, that sort of stuff. And since I have started sending out that email, I no longer get frustrated brides. Hey, where's my stuff? Where's my this? Where's my that? Because I have let them know when it is going to be. So We do that
Yeah.
too.
That's huge. And if you think about it, like it feels like as I'm going through these, there's a lot of them, but this is over a year period of time and it's consistent. It makes it easy on them to set up to meet with me. It gives me the opportunity to sell them things that they actually need. And then so like the wedding happens. I just did a wedding last night, actually. And what happens is 1 week after, there's the 1 week email. 100 days after, I've set up a leave a review, because that is after I know they'll have their wedding film. And it's got links to every place that I want them to review already linked inside of it. And it gives them some instructions on like, hey, this is how we really survive as a business. Here's the 3 places that we could use a review. And yes, you can copy and paste. If you leave us a review, we will give you $100 off either raw footage and I have some things in that email that basically generates me reviews automatically. They click Google on the link and it takes them to the John Bunn Films page for them to leave a review, or it says, like that kind of stuff is all linked right in there. That's 100 days out. After the wedding. And then I have an email that goes 6 months out that's called raw footage or doc edits. And it's an email that says, hey, it's been 6 months since you got married. If you don't have an anniversary, or if you don't have your raw footage or doc edits, this is a great time. And it kind of explains what those are. And it's automating sales is what it's doing. And there's a link in there if you'd like to schedule a time to talk about what these things are. Just click here and you can schedule a quick call with me. And then 1 year out, there's an anniversary email that just is thanking them. Happy 1 year. If you need anything or know anybody, please let me know, as well as some information about some discounts or things on raw footage if they haven't gotten it and things like that. And so there's a lot of detail there. And I just spent like 2 full days going through, rewriting a lot of these emails. I will say, Nick, we do have some templates. You might want to hit on those.
Yeah. So email templates are a huge way that we have implemented that make it this whole process so much easier. And we have talked about that, but we have, both of us have these templates inside our Honeybooks, that there are 40 emails or something like that we just have saved in there, so that in most situations, we're able to click and pick an email that we want to send out if it's not necessarily within our workflow. Okay. So, one thing that we actually have in our store, in our shop, if you go to howtofilmweddings.com/store, if you go there, we have email templates and we also have a wedding day questionnaire. And so as we're talking about workflows and all of that kind of stuff, what we wanted to do is we wanted to go ahead and do a little 25% off discount today. So if you type in the promo code 25OFF, okay, that can apply to both our email templates and our wedding day questionnaire. So 25 off is a promo code that you can use. You'll get 25% off both our email templates and our questionnaire. Already have our questionnaire, then just do it on the email templates. Already have the email templates, you can just do it on the wedding day questionnaire. This will be good for 1 week as we launch this podcast episode. So that's 25 off. And these are resources, these are tools, again, that will definitely help you in your business, help you streamline everything so that you don't have to spend that time rewriting the exact same email over and over and over again. You really like John's system, how he has it together with, the 6 month out meeting and meeting with them and talking with the planner and the couple and the mom and all of that kind of stuff and walking through the timeline and potentially doing upsells. Like all of us are like, man, that's great. But if you don't have a workflow, if you don't have an email, and then you remember, oh shoot, I wanted to send that 6 month email out and it's 90 days before their wedding or 60 days before their wedding, there might not be enough time for you to have those conversations and for those to and for the people to make those decisions that they do want to spend, $1, $2, $3, $4 more $1,000 on your services because the money is already spent. Okay. And so with these templates, with a CRM like Honeybook, you can automatically do it in the workflow so that they are getting those emails and you're just kind of sit back doing nothing and people are responding to you because it looks like you were the one that sent the email.
And 7-8 years ago, these kinds of things really weren't in existence. So I had to hire an assistant and pay them a salary to do this kind of a thing. And something like Honeybook is $40 a month. I think so. I mean, that's super cheap. And you get half off with that promo code at howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook. But what's cool about this, if you think about it, most of us are solopreneurs or have a small team at the best. And we're supposed to do social media. We're supposed to do marketing. We're supposed to know about contracts. We're supposed to, do business development with relationships with other vendors, shooting weddings, editing weddings. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. And what is really cool about spending the time up front, as we're getting into the busier season, as things are opening back up in most places, like it is a lot to manage. And so the couple I just booked this last week, their wedding is in December, and their 6-month out meeting is actually coming up next month. And I'm in the middle of all these weddings. I would totally forget to schedule that. But instead now I just get an email saying, Jimmy and Susie have scheduled an appointment at 2 o'clock on Tuesday. And it's like, oh, sweet. I'm happy that email went out. Or even with invoices that are due and things like that, by having these things all in order, you can make your job so much easier. And it not only is it easier, we talked about it earlier in the episode, but like the money that I'm making off of these emails now is actually kind of ridiculous. So like my 6-month meeting is averaging me between $1,500 and $2,000 per couple, because I'm setting up this meeting 6 months out, and I'm meeting with the couple, I'm meeting with the bride, the planner, and the couple, like whoever's paying is meeting, and we're walking through the timeline. We're ahead of things, and they might not have things solidified yet, and we say, oh, no, you need more time for video right there because you want to do interviews, right? We talked about this in the meeting. You want to do interviews, so you need 30 minutes here, not 15. Or, oh, we need to push the ceremony back. A lot of times they haven't set that yet, and they're like, oh, okay, we'll start the ceremony a little earlier because we didn't realize by not doing a first look we wouldn't have time for this and that. And so there are so many times at weddings in the last 15 years of me doing it, I was like, man, I wish we would have had 30 more minutes here. And my problem was being so busy that I never had that time to set up a meeting with them, to understand their timeline, to give them any feedback. I would book the couple and then maybe reach out once, but most likely not until it was about a month out from the wedding. And I was doing these meetings, and this is why I really got into workflows, is I would meet with the couple 1 month out, and I would say, you really need 1 more hour of coverage. It's $500. And they were just like, we are tapped out. We don't have any money. And I would get to the wedding, and they'd have like an ice sculpture, and they'd have like a big photo booth, fifth wheel thing. And they'd have all these extra flowers in the back of the room. And it was just stuff that like wasn't like, I'm not saying that those things aren't like necessary, but they thought they had more money in their budget for things because I hadn't talked to them about what they really needed. And because I didn't take that extra effort 6 months out, 3 months out to really get to know them and really have these workflows in place, they spent their money on things that they most likely, ended up in the trash, as opposed to, wow, they could have spent, $1,500 more on their video and been much more happy, much more happy. I don't know. But that's the point of these workflows, is in the middle of the craziness, you think you're going to be able to remember to send out these emails and all this stuff. But if you've written these out, they have all the information, they're consistent, you're giving your couples a better product, they're respecting what you do more, and they're spending more money.
Yes,
that is neat.
Really good. That is neat. That was really good. Another plug for Honeybook with that I love is they have the new scheduling tool that's come out in the last year, where you can actually link it with Zoom. And so whenever a couple sets that up in the schedule, like it'll create a thing in Zoom and like automatically have a meeting room. So all you have to do is a couple, like it's just very that has helped me too, because now I'm not going back and forth. It's like, okay, I can talk at 4 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, 3 on, any of that kind of stuff. I said, here's my schedule. This is when I can meet. What works best with you? And so now it's one email, and it's very, very simple. It's very, very easy. That just goes into the workflow of, I want this to be as easy as I can for my clients. So that's one of the big pluses of doing the workflow. So John, how do you feel this has gone? I feel like this has been some really good info here today.
I feel like there's been a couple of gold nuggets. I really want people out there, even if you have a workflow that you've had in place, it's really about every year and a half, 2 years that you really need to go back and look through all your templates and all the things that you have and just freshen up what you have and freshen up the wording and make sure that it feels like the current version of your brand.
Yes.
Nick, you wanted to add something?
Well, that's what I'd say. Jen, she's been saying for the last couple of months, she was like, I really need to go through and rewrite those and kind of do, because we updated our branding, we updated our website, but the emails are still from before we did that. And not that they're bad and not that they're not who we are, but they could use a little, spring cleaning, if you want to think it that way. They could use a little, updating of verbiage and language and words and how we do and that kind of stuff and make it all match. So, how you write and how you talk as a business today is going to be different in 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. And you're going to want to adapt, especially if you start charging more money. And when you start charging more money, the words that you say, the things that you write matter a lot more than they did whenever you weren't charging as much. So yes, definitely go through your workflows if you have one, and just kind of read through those emails and or send them to someone that's your mom or your friend or someone like that. It's like, hey, if you get this email, is this communicating what my website says? Or, something like that could be a good little exercise for you to go in and try and figure out, okay, should I say these things? Should I write it this way? Should this email go out here? So, good idea.
I was going to add one more thing about the questionnaires that are in our workflow. I know you talked about them being 25% off this week. Very kind of you, my friend. I'm just kidding. I knew you were going to do that. But
you did.
The questionnaires that we send out to our couples, I have one that goes out 1 month beforehand, and this is on purpose. And the questionnaire says, we won't set up our final consultation until you have filled this out. It's going to take you about 15 minutes to fill it out. It's a lot of information, but it's going to really help us. And since I went back through my questionnaire and I tweaked a couple things, I made it a little easier to digest for them, but I really focused in on, if we could only film 3 parts of your day, what would they be and why? Or we need you to write out your entire story, tell us your story. Like, that's the longest part. And every wedding that I've had this year, since adding a couple of those things in there, has made it so much easier for my interviews on the wedding day, because yesterday I was like, tell me, because the couple got engaged in Prague and I knew that. And it was like a funny story, and both of them wrote about it in the questionnaire. And so I had each side of the couple, the bride, the groom, talk about getting engaged in Prague. They actually met in Vegas for the first time. They both went to Oklahoma University and didn't meet each other there, but they were both at bachelor and bachelorette parties in Vegas and met each other in Vegas and then connected back in Oklahoma. And it was just a cool story. And most people have some unique things about their story. Mm-hmm. And it helps me to tell that story better and serve them better by having that questionnaire and having it timed correctly a month out before we walk through their final consultation. I can bring up some of those things in the final consult because I know them. It's like, tell me a little bit more about that. And then on the wedding day, I can say, hey, let's talk about how you guys met in Vegas. And I did that yesterday. And it's like, oh, also tell me about getting engaged. And so what's funny, and part of the workflow says, if you have any home footage, they gave me this. I don't know if you can see it, but they had home footage digitized and ready for me. And they have SD cards in here too from things that they had, like footage that they gave me, because it's in the workflow. And guess what their film's going to be? Way better. And guess how much I'm going to be able to charge next year? Way more, because I'm doing these little things over time. And so I could go on and on about that, but I've been really geeking out about my workflows lately. And I was like, Nick, we got to talk about workflows. And so anyway, I don't have anything else to add. Do you have anything else you want to jump on about your workflows I want to make sure you had a chance to, if there's anything in yours.
No, I don't think I have anything I want to add. This was a good idea that you had today to talk about these. And as we wrap up, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. We wanted to remind you, if you go to howtofilmweddings.com/store, our email templates and our wedding day questionnaire are both going to be 25% off this week. Use promo code 25OFF to get either the email templates or the wedding day questionnaire, or both of them. Grab them both for 25% off. So that is howtofilmweddings.com/store, howtofilmweddings.com/store. John, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Listeners, thank you for paying attention for the last little bit of time. And until next time, we will see you.
See you guys. Are you looking for a better way to deliver your wedding films to your couples? Look no further. Our friends over at WedFlow provide the most flexible video delivery solution on the market. WedFlow is pay per project with no large upfront cost or commitment, and you can cancel anytime. Not only that, WedFlow offers a premium viewing experience for your couples, accessible on mobile, tablet, desktop, as well as their very own suite of TV apps. Each project comes with 10 years hosting and an experience for your clients that will blow them away. Stop delivering your films the old-fashioned way and give your couples something to rave about. Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/wedflow to check out WedFlow today.